Alright, what's up everybody? I'm Flounk, and this is the first episode of Battlefield 4 Jet Tips and Tricks. This is going to be more of like a general kind of first impressions and loadouts kind of video, and then in the future episodes I'll be getting more and more specific about certain aspects of the game and game modes and stuff like that. So, first thing, let's talk about the first impressions of Battlefield 4 jets. So, if you don't know, if you're new to the channel, then I was huge on jets in Battlefield 3. It was probably one of my favorite things to do in the game was just fly planes. And I had a Battlefield 3 jet tips and tricks series where it was basically the same as this is going to be, except I watched back on those and I realized they were kind of like dull and boring, so I'm going to try and be a lot more exciting in these ones. So hope you guys enjoy these ones more. And yeah, Battlefield 4 is really, really fun. I've been playing it a lot, and I don't know, it's just really, really fun. The graphics are about the same as Battlefield 3, but with the next-gen consoles, they're going to look gorgeous. Yeah, I'm a console player. All you PC guys hate me if you want. I don't care. But yeah, that's about it. It's a really fun. Jets are pretty similar, except for some differences that I'll probably be talking about in a little bit. So let's get into the loadouts. All right, so starting off with the attack jets. The first thing there is the cannon, which is a 30mm cannon. You can't change this, but you probably wouldn't want to anyway, just because it destroys everything. It's really powerful, and I'll be showing you that in a little bit. Second thing are the weapons. You can see the descriptions on the right. First off, you got laser guided. Now this is what I stick with, just for some reasons I'll be explaining later. Secondly, you've got heat seekers, which they're air-to-air, and they're only air-to-air, so you can only use them on other aircraft. But you wouldn't really need to anyway, just because your cannon, again, is just really, really powerful. And then you got Hydra rockets, which are basically like rocket pods from Battlefield 3. I don't use these because I'm not sure if it's a glitch, but on some maps and some planes, you have to be in third person to use them, which really just makes them useless. And then you got your TV missile. This is also a little bit glitchy, and it's just... It kind of renders you helpless when you're controlling that in a plane. And then last is the JDAM bomb, which is a dumbfire bomb, and you can fire two, but they're not very powerful when you could just be using your cannon anyway. So yeah, those are the weapons. Alright, next we got our countermeasures. So these are going to be used when you need to get rid of a lock or a missile that's locked onto you. And first is IR flares. This is what you start out with, and these are good. These in ECM is probably what you want to stick with. I use ECM just because I think it lasts a little bit longer, and missiles sometimes hit you if you use ECM, but they don't do too much damage anyway, so it's not really a big deal. And yeah, so they're basically the same thing. And then you got fire extinguisher, which if you get disabled, then when you would normally start losing health until you explode, this will put out the fire and you'll start to regenerate health. I don't use this just because you can lose a lot of health in Battlefield 4 and still have it regenerate. So yeah, those are the countermeasures. Right, next we got the upgrades, and I use gyro stabilizer just because belt feeder, stealth coating, and proximity scan all seem like they're not really necessities, whereas gyro stabilizer, if you get hit by a missile and you start to kind of spin out of control, it'll help you get back on track faster, which can mean life or death in a dogfight. So yeah, I use gyro stabilizer. And then the last thing is camouflage, which is just totally opinion. So let's move on to the stealth jets. Alright, so for your stealth jets, your cannon options, you start with a 20. You can advance to a 25 or a 30. I don't have everything unlocked yet just because I've been flying the attack jets mostly instead of the stealth jets. But I'm almost positive that I'm going to prefer the 30mm just because that's going to do the most damage. Next we got the weapons, and your weapons are going to be almost the same as for the attack jets. So you're going to have heat seekers, passive radar, laser guided, and active radar. Now just about all of these are air-to-air missiles except for the laser guided. And since once you get to the point where you can handle other aircraft with only your cannon, then it's going to be better to use laser guided just because it'll give you an extra edge on ground vehicles. So yeah, you won't really need the air-to-air once you get good enough, and the laser guided will just help generally a lot. And then your upgrades are all exactly the same, and I still have the exact same opinions about these ones as well. So, and then again, the paint is just opinion. So let's move on to some flying mechanics. Alright, so here's your laser guided missiles, and you have 2 of them, and you're going to want to fire both at the same time just so you can do as much damage as you can. And when they're on their way, you need to maintain the lock so that they actually hit the target. If you don't, then they're probably going to miss. And as you saw a second ago, with me personally, whenever I turn around to do another strafing run, I don't like turn to the side and spin around. I flip completely upside down, and then I go all the way up and over, just because as soon as I flip all the way over, I can go straight into guided missile, and I don't have to turn around anymore to get my bearings. Yeah, so there's some more laser guided missiles. In a second, I'll show you how powerful the cannon on this thing is, the 30mm cannon. If you haven't noticed yet, this is the attack jet. So yeah, here's the cannon, and it just made very, very quick work of that. I think that was a Jeep, and also other aircraft. Just does not stand a chance against this thing. Now, one big change in flying between Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4 is the fact that when you rotate your plane, like you roll left or right, the camera in third person rotates with your plane rather than staying right side up like it did in Battlefield 3. So watch right now. As I flip over, the camera goes upside down as well. Now, if you're dogfighting someone and you're watching your radar, then when you're upside down, the direction you're going to want to turn is inverted because you're upside down. Now, if I try and explain this completely to you guys, then it's just going to confuse you even more. So I'm going to say that the best way to get used to this is just to fly a lot and just figure it out for yourself, because I'm just going to confuse you more if I try and explain it. But yeah, that's the big difference, I think. I like it because it adds an extra factor to dogfighting, and it makes it a little bit more challenging without really damaging the mechanics of the plane. Now, one more main thing to remember when you're flying in Battlefield 4 is that, as with a lot of the weapons in this game, the closer you are to your target, the more damage your cannon's going to do. So if you try and snipe something from really far away with your cannon, then it's not going to do as much damage as if you get up close and personal and go in like a really, really low strafing run. This balances out though, because the lower you go, the higher chances are that you're going to hit a tree or a pole, or maybe even someone's going to shoot you with like an RPG or something. What you're seeing right now coming out of the back of the plane is ECM jammer, and as you saw, it lasts for a while, so this gives you a good chance to get out of range of the lock, and that's why I prefer it over flares, just because it lasts longer. So there you go, guys. I think that's about it for today. This has been the first episode of Jet Tips and Tricks. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, because they're going to get a lot more specific and really, really helpful for Battlefield 4. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Have a good one.